I used to feel lost and confused all of the time in my life. I think lost and confused is another way of saying the transformation journey, really. You cannot transform without feeling lost and confused in between. That is the unknown. And I used to really tie a negative definition to lost and confused. I used to tie it to failure, not knowing what to do, all of these negative definitions to lost and confused. And as we talk about all the time on this channel, the definitions we tie to things create our experience of it. So that moment of being in the unknown, when we feel lost and confused in the unknown, and I want you to imagine a caterpillar that's gone into a cocoon to become a butterfly. Are they going to feel anything other than lost and confused in that cocoon? You know, a minute ago they were walking around on planks of wood, enjoying their beautiful lives, nibbling leaves, and now they're in this little cocoon. They're going to feel pretty lost and confused. They're going to be like, I've never experienced what I'm about to be. I don't know who I'm about to become. I don't know all of the abilities I'm going to have when I get there. That's going to be quite confusing for the caterpillar. And it's the same with human beings. When we are moving into a new version of ourselves, we feel lost and confused. And when we tie negative definitions into that time, we can really store these negative survival feelings and emotions and definitions inside of ourselves and really start to accumulate beliefs that can hinder our transformation. And I'm going to show you that on the whiteboard so that we can see this clearly, and so that next time you feel lost and confused, you can have more of a positive experience because you've seen it, you know what's happening, and you can tie a positive definition to it and get positive results. To the whiteboard. Here is a powerful creator of reality. And here they are sitting in their life. This powerful creator of reality is creating their reality, and their reality, the energy that they magnetize from the quantum realm, gets filtered by all of their beliefs and definitions about reality, and then they get to experience themselves, their own beliefs and definitions of themselves and reality. They get to experience that as a physical reality. So it comes from within them, so they can create themselves as a physical reality, as we now know. Which is why looking at your beliefs and your definitions is such important work, because your beliefs and definitions are your reality. They are the limitations that is creating your physical reality, because everything in existence is inside of you. Your beliefs and your definitions filter everything. You can have anything. Your beliefs and definitions filter everything so that you can have a physical, condensed, compressed experience of a particular energy that you want to experience for whatever reason you want to experience it. So that is why our beliefs and definitions are so important. For this example, I want us to imagine that every belief inside of this person is a timeline that they experience. So all of these beliefs become different timelines, different versions of this person that they experience. Now I want you to imagine that this person has just been to a family event, and they have this timeline that they drop into when they see a specific group of people. It ignites this part of them, and then they suddenly start to experience that side of them. So even though they've been reading all of their books on transformation and how to be empowered, even though they've done all of this work and their whole reality looks different, they have ignited and activated this timeline with this group of people, and therefore they have ignited that version of themselves, and therefore they have ignited that reality around themselves. Now this person also has this active timeline, which is they've installed all of these beliefs about I'm abundant, I have the power. I'm the creator of my own reality. I am powerful. I've done all of this work on myself, and I now have this active timeline where I am an empowered human being. And when they activate this timeline, this energy now begins to disrupt this timeline. And when they see this group of people, they may be reacting different, they may be acting different. And so this all starts to get a bit combative, a bit kind of doesn't merge, the new them doesn't merge with this old timeline and starts to dilute and starts to cause friction on this other timeline. This timeline that has been activated in this person, the one that is from the past, the one that was ignited by seeing the family, because this new energy is beginning to pour into this timeline and make this timeline seem so obsolete, seems so they don't connect with this timeline anymore. All of this is going to feel like the unknown to this person, because they now have this other energy pouring through themselves, which means that they no longer see this reality the same way. But all of this old, outdated energy has been activated and has started playing for this person. And so there's kind of this like battle between the new and the old, these two timelines. And when the person starts to really ignite this timeline, all of the parts of this timeline that will be being released because this new energy is beginning to flow into it. So this new energy is taking over this timeline. Parts of this timeline are going to start to want to be released. And these parts of this timeline are stored inside the person's body, inside the person's nervous system. So all of these things are going to start to come up to the person. And they're going to start really receiving old narratives, old beliefs. Things are going to come up to be released by this person and to hopefully be turned into wisdom. And this feels like a battle between two timelines, because it effectively is. There was a reason that this person stored all of this way of being in their nervous system, in their body. They have all of these beliefs that come from this specific timeline that they're now trying to overpower with the new energy they've been creating. And it's all coming to the surface, and it's all coming up to test this person, so that they can either let it go or they can be pulled back into an old version of themselves. The reason that this feels like the person is so lost is because the person is being pulled into an old energy that simply does not come from within the person anymore. And this can feel very disorientating, because all of these active things from the past are almost like artificial guidance. It feels like confusion, and it feels like being lost. I had this happen this weekend. And even though I have so many things that I want to do, so many things that I love to do, I entered an old timeline from like obligation, a timeline where I haven't yet evolved the energy as new upgraded versions of myself. And then after I had that experience, my nervous system was releasing all of these old stories and all of these old narratives that just started playing. And I had to really kind of defend myself, defend my energy from these stories, trying to get back in and trying to reignite themselves. And that kind of made me feel like I was disconnected from the me that I have been creating, the me that I have turned into, and kind of in this in-between zone where I didn't want to do the old things, but that was all I could really think of doing because I'd activated this old timeline. So I was trying to resist falling into old slipping into an old timeline, but also I couldn't think from my present self because I'd activated an old timeline. I was on an old timeline. So all of the ideas, the thoughts, and all of the things that I want to do and would be doing if I hadn't activated this old timeline, it was like they just didn't exist around me. And what I did was I allowed that feeling of loss to come in. I felt lost and I felt confused. But when I felt these old feelings and old energies happen, I now understand that that is my nervous system releasing old patterns. When you feel lost and confused, you feel lost and confused because it's that jump between the two timelines. When you're on the old timeline, allow the parts of you to come up and be met with the new energy that you truly still are, but you're just in this kind of old timeline energy, and allow the parts of you to come up, to be let go of and release from your body. Like I had one of these moments where an old feeling, it was this I don't know what to do feeling, which I never feel anymore. I meditate way too much for that. But I had this old I don't know what to do feeling, and I just felt lost and confused. And what I had to do was I had to acknowledge that I wasn't lost, I wasn't confused, I was releasing this feeling. And I had to just coach myself through it and say, I'm letting go of old things. Is one of these. It feels like it's not me because it's not me. This is the past. I'm letting it go. And then I just kept saying, I know what to do. This is just a story. This is just a story from the past coming up to be released. And when you can let these stories come up and be met with wisdom and not convince you they're true, so they pull you back into an old timeline, they will release. They're just coming up and out of your nervous system. Your body is unlearning old storylines and you're just assisting your body through that process. And that's why we feel lost and confused, because we're kind of watching an old episode of some soap we used to watch that we no longer relate to in any way. And we just have to let it come up and let our body unlearn the old beliefs so that we can really start to flow the new energy that we've been creating, the new abundance that we've been learning, really let that take place. And I also had to stop myself from overthinking everything. I had to say, mind, I know you want to take control. I know you want to overthink this right now, but just let it go. You cannot fix anything. When you allow things to be fixed, that's when they're fixed. Overthinking doesn't fix. Letting things go and giving it to my higher mind, that is what will fix things, and that is what will get me back to clarity and ease the fastest, is just allowing the process to happen. I hope this was helpful. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And just remember, feeling lost and confused means you're in the cocoon, baby, and you do not know the incredible butterfly that you're about to turn into. Just let yourself find out by letting yourself let go of these old storylines that no longer serve you anymore. Lots of love.